Listen up, folks, and prepare to have your mind tangled and your ears amused with the most outlandish tales you've ever heard. This is Tangled Threads with your host, Tiberius Templeton. My wife cheated on me, so I cheated back, and now she wants a divorce. I never thought it would come to this. My wife of 10 years had cheated on me multiple times throughout our marriage, and I had tried to forgive and forget each time. But this time, I couldn't take it anymore. I needed to get back at her for all the pain and betrayal she had caused me. So I decided to cheat back. I didn't plan on it happening. I was just looking for a way to blow off some steam and forget about my problems for a while. That's when I stumbled upon a salsa club downtown. I had always loved dancing, and I figured it would be a good way to take my mind off things. Little did I know that decision would change my life forever. As soon as I walked into the club, I saw her, a hot young Latina with curves that could make any man drool. Her name was Isabella, and we hit it off immediately. We danced the night away, and before I knew it, we were back at her place. That seems to be the natural progression of things. Anyway, I felt guilty the whole time, but at the same time, it was exhilarating. It was a rush that I had never experienced before. I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I couldn't stop myself. It was like a drug. The next morning, I left her place and went home. I knew that my wife would be suspicious if I didn't have a good explanation for where I had been all night. So I left little clues for her to find. A hair clip on the floor, a different scent on my clothes. I wanted her to know what I had done. It wasn't long before she found out. She confronted me, and at first, I denied it. But when she presented me with the evidence, I had no choice but to come clean. I told her what I had done, and that I did it to get back at her for cheating on me. She was devastated. She couldn't believe that I would do something like that to her. She said that she had only cheated because she wasn't getting what she needed from our relationship. But I didn't want to hear it. I felt like she deserved to know how it felt to be cheated on. The days that followed were some of the hardest of my life. My wife was distant and cold towards me, and I knew that our marriage was over. She couldn't forgive me for what I had done, and I couldn't forgive her for what she had done to me. Finally, she told me that she wanted a divorce. I didn't fight it. I knew that it was for the best. We had both hurt each other too much, and there was no going back from that. Looking back on it now, I know that what I did was wrong. I shouldn't have stooped to her level, but at the time, it felt like the only way to get back at her. It felt like the only way to make her understand how much she had hurt me. Now, I'm living on my own and trying to start over. It's not easy, but I know that it's for the best. I don't want to be with someone who doesn't respect me enough to stay faithful. And I don't want to be the kind of person who cheats on their partner just to get revenge. In the end, I learned a valuable lesson from all of this. Cheating never solves anything. It only causes more pain and hurt. If you're not happy in your relationship, you need to talk to your partner and work things out. Don't make the same mistake that I did. Don't cheat back. It's not worth it. Sometimes the cookie crumbles. That way, amigo. The world would not be complete without hearing the thoughts that will come from the deep well of your mind. Please make us whole by using the comments section below. Time for a new story to unfold. I caught my wife in the act with our lawn boy. I gotta tell you a story that'll have your jaw dropping to the floor. So get ready to buckle up and hold on tight, cause this one's a doozy. It all started a few weeks ago when I started to notice that my wife was acting all sorts of weird. She was always on her phone, giggling and texting someone I didn't know. And when I walked in the room, she would quickly put her phone away like she was hiding something. At first, I didn't think too much of it. I mean, we've been together for a while, and I trust her. But something just didn't feel right, you know. So I started to do a little digging around, snooping through her phone when she wasn't looking. And that's when I found out that she was cheating on me with the freaking lawn boy. I couldn't believe it. I mean, this dude was half her age and had a body like a Greek god, but still, it was totally messed up. Well, this is in sharp contrast to the story in the video linked in the description. I didn't know what to do at first, so I just kept my cool and pretended like everything was normal. But inside, I was raging like a wild animal. I mean, how could she do this to me? One day, when my wife was out running errands, I decided to confront the lawn boy. I waited outside our house for him to show up, and when he did, I confronted him about what was going on between him and my wife. At first, he denied everything, but then I showed him the text messages and pictures that I had found on my wife's phone. That's when he finally admitted to everything. I was so angry and hurt that I wanted to punch him in the face, but I knew that wouldn't solve anything. Instead, I just told him to stay the hell away from my wife and our property. After that, I went inside and waited for my wife to come home. When she did, I confronted her about everything, and she tried to deny it at first, but then she finally came clean. I was devastated. I thought we had something special, but now everything was shattered. I didn't know what to do, so I just grabbed a beer and went out to the lawn to think. As I was sitting there, staring at the grass, the lawn boy came back. He said he wanted to apologize and make things right, but I wasn't having it. This dude had betrayed me in the worst possible way. So I told him to get lost and never come back. And that's when he got all up in my face, saying that he could have my wife anytime he wanted, and there was nothing I could do about it. I lost it. I completely lost it. I tackled him to the ground and started beating the crap out of him. I didn't care if I got arrested or whatever. I just wanted to make him pay for what he had done to me and my marriage. Eventually, my wife pulled me off of him, and the police showed up. They arrested the lawn boy for trespassing and assault, and my wife and I ended up getting a divorce. It's been a few months since all of this happened, and I'm still trying to pick up the pieces. But I've learned a lot from this experience. I've learned that trust is everything in a relationship, and once it's broken, it's almost impossible to fix. So, to anyone out there who's in a relationship, make sure you trust your partner and communicate with them. And if you ever catch them cheating, don't do what I did. Don't resort to violence or let your emotions get the best of you. Instead, take some time to reflect on what happened and figure out what's best for you moving forward. I'm out, and I am out of alcohol, and we are only halfway through this video. What horrible timing. God forbid you keep your thoughts to yourself. The comments section is below. The next story awaits. Wife cheats on me with train conductor while he drives the train. My wife, the love of my life, cheated on me with a train conductor while he was driving the train. Yes, you read that right. It's not something you hear every day, and it's definitely not something you expect to happen to you. It all started when my wife, Sarah, started taking the train to work. She had just landed a new job in the city, and the train was the easiest way to get there. She would leave early in the morning and come back late at night, exhausted from the long day. I never suspected anything, and why would I? We had been married for 5 years, and we were happy, or so I thought. Oh dear Lord. One night, I was waiting for Sarah to come home from work when I got a call from her. She sounded frantic, and I could barely make out what she was saying. She was crying and telling me that she had made a mistake. She had cheated on me with the train conductor while he was driving the train. My heart sank, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could she do this to me? I tried to remain calm and asked her to come home so we could talk about it. When she arrived, she was a mess. She couldn't stop crying and apologizing. I didn't know what to say or do. I felt numb, and it was as if the ground had opened up beneath me. Sarah kept saying that she didn't know what had come over her, and that it was a mistake. I didn't know what to do, and I needed some time to process everything. So I told her to go stay with her sister for a few days. I needed some time alone to think about everything and decide what to do next. As the days went by, I couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. How could she do this to me? I loved her, and I thought she loved me too. But it seemed like she had thrown everything away for a moment of pleasure. Eventually, I decided to confront her. I needed to know the truth and find out what was going on. I asked her to come home, and we sat down to talk. She told me everything that had happened, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Apparently, she had started flirting with the conductor during her morning commute. They would chat every day, and she found herself drawn to him. She said he was charming and funny, and she couldn't resist him. One day, he invited her to his cabin, and she went. They started kissing, and things escalated from there. She said it was the most intense experience of her life, and that she couldn't help herself. The fact that he was driving the train made it even more exciting. I was devastated. My wife had cheated on me with another man, and she had done it while he was driving a train. It was surreal, and I didn't know how to deal with it. Over the next few weeks, we tried to work through things. Sarah was desperate to make things right and wanted to stay together. She promised me that she would never cheat on me again and that she would do anything to earn my trust back. I wanted to believe her, but I couldn't shake the images of her with another man. Every time I closed my eyes, I could see them together, and it made me sick to my stomach. I didn't know if I could ever forgive her, let alone trust her again. Despite her promises, I couldn't get past what had happened. It was always there, in the back of my mind, and I couldn't shake it. In the end, I decided that I couldn't continue the marriage. The trust had been broken, and I didn't think it could be repaired. We went through a painful divorce, and I struggled to move on from what had happened. I couldn't help but wonder if I had missed any signs, if there was anything I could have done differently to prevent this from happening. Years went by, and I tried my best to put the past behind me. I started dating again, and eventually met someone who made me happy. We got married, and I thought I had finally moved on from Sarah and what had happened. But as fate would have it, I found myself on a train one day, headed to a work conference. As I sat there, watching the scenery go by, I saw the conductor walk by. It was him, the man my wife had cheated on me with. I couldn't believe it. My heart raced, and I felt a mix of anger and sadness wash over me. I wanted to confront him, to ask him why he had done what he had done. But in the end, I decided to let it go. I realized that holding on to the anger and pain wouldn't do me any good. It was time to move on and let go of the past. As the train pulled into my stop, I gathered my things and got off. I took a deep breath and walked away, leaving the conductor and the past behind me. It wasn't easy, but I knew it was the right thing to do. I had learned to forgive, to let go, and to move forward with my life. In the end, I realized that life is full of unexpected twists and turns. We never know what's going to happen, but it's up to us to decide how we react to it. I had chosen to let go of the pain and move forward, and it had made all the difference. One to go. Stay with me until the end, just in case I go into cardiac arrest. I'm sure we'd all love to hear what you have to say about this story. So by all means, tell us your thoughts in the comments section below. The next tale is waiting to be told. I just found my wife's OnlyFans account. Oh sweet Jesus, what a way to end the day. Let's begin. I never thought I would be one of those guys who found his wife's OnlyFans account, but here we are. It all started a few weeks ago when I noticed that my wife, Katie, had been acting a little strange. She had been spending a lot of time on her phone, constantly checking her notifications and being secretive about what she was doing. I tried not to think too much about it at first, assuming she was just catching up with friends or something. But as the days went by, her behavior became increasingly suspicious. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was going on. So one day, when Katie was in the shower, I decided to take a look at her phone. I know, it's a major breach of trust, but I just couldn't help myself. I scrolled through her messages, checked her social media accounts, and that's when I saw it. A message from OnlyFans, confirming her account creation. I felt like the ground had been pulled out from under me. My wife, the love of my life, was doing what? Selling pictures and videos of herself on OnlyFans. I couldn't believe it. I felt hurt, angry, and confused. How could she keep something like this from me? That's one way to pay the bills, I suppose. When Katie got out of the shower, I confronted her about it. She tried to play it off like it was no big deal, but I could tell she was uncomfortable. She explained that she had started the account a few months ago to make some extra money on the side. I was shocked. I knew we had been struggling financially, but I never imagined she would resort to something like this. Katie tried to explain that it was just pictures and videos, nothing more. But I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more going on. I felt like I didn't even know my wife anymore. She had been keeping this huge secret from me, and I didn't know what else she might be hiding. We spent the next few days talking about it, trying to work through our issues. Katie explained that she had been struggling to make ends meet, and that OnlyFans had been a way for her to pay our bills and put food on the table. I understood where she was coming from, but I couldn't help feeling betrayed. I felt like she had chosen money over our relationship. Eventually, we came to a compromise. Katie agreed to stop posting explicit content on OnlyFans and to only post more tasteful pictures and videos. She also agreed to be more open and honest with me about her finances and any other issues that might arise. I agreed to try and be more understanding and to support her in any way I could. It wasn't easy, but we managed to work through our issues. We learned to communicate better and to be more transparent with each other. We also learned to appreciate each other more and to never take our relationship for granted. Looking back on it now, I can see that finding my wife's OnlyFans account was a wake-up call for both of us. It forced us to confront some of the underlying issues in our relationship and to work together to overcome them. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. Today, Katie and I are stronger than ever, and I wouldn't trade her for anything in the world. And with that, it's off to the wet bar. When you subscribe to our channel, make sure to click the little bell. Apparently, it makes a really big difference to someone somewhere. If you really need more stories about infidelity, by all means, click here to watch more.